Hello people and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have been away for some time over the Christmas period. It was a very busy period for me, but during that time I did manage to open a website. Well, my girlfriend did actually help me with this, but we do now have a website where you can find some great Football Manager tactics and blogs. So on this page you will be able to find tactics, there are recreations, and of course other creators will be uploading some of their tactics. But we do have a blog also where you can gather some tactical ideas. For example, we have a textbook on the 3-3-4 formation. Make sure you guys check it out. We've just opened it up, and you also won't miss out on the recent videos as they will be posted on this site also. But for today's video we are going to be looking at my recreation of the Jose Mourinho 4-2-3-1 at Tottenham so far. So let's get started with that. Before I actually do get started, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like this video, and make sure you leave a comment. It will help me out a lot. But you will also get a notification of all the videos I upload. I have plenty more coming, so make sure you subscribe and don't miss out on those notifications. The football so far this season has been oppressive for the most part, with probably the biggest result being the 6-1 victory away to Manchester United. At the time of recording this, Spurs are averaging around 1.42 expected goals per game. Harry Kane is getting 0.55 expected goals per game on average, whilst boasting an impressive goal contribution, 10 goals and 11 assists so far. So it's clear to see his new role hasn't affected his goal scoring record or ability to get into scoring chances. As always, Jose has been pragmatic this season. Dependent on the opposition, his team has been seen defending higher or lower. At times we've seen an increase in the pressing intensity and even change of shape. Spurs have lined up in a 4-3-3, 4-1-4-1 DM, but we are going to be looking at the main principles I have seen on display so far in this season with the 4-2-3-1 shape. The signing of Højbjerg has done wonders. This allows both wing-backs to take more risk with their movement. Sissoko has also been given more freedom to make surging runs forward, but Højbjerg has brought in a lot of quality on the ball. Jose Mourinho likes to use a double pivot when building, as this allows them to gain a numerical advantage on the opponent's press. This is how they often build up their play from defence, using the stagger method, having multiple players occupy different horizontal and vertical lines. Højbjerg again has been key in the build up, playing 942 passes so far, which is the 10th most in the league, and with an 87.7 completion rate. His ability to switch the ball to either flanks hasn't gone unnoticed either, and this is one way Tottenham Hotspur can progress up the pitch when building their attacks. Tottenham often look for quick switches down the left before working the ball centrally for Kane or Son. So far they have attacked down the left hand side 38% of the time, as opposed to the 28% down the middle and the 34% down the right. Spurs slightly favour the left hand side when attacking, but this isn't exclusive, with Højbjerg collecting the ball a lot in central areas, Sissoko and Ndombele running at the defence when they can, and wider players moving in centrally. It's no surprise to see 29% of their action being central. When Jose's side win the ball, there is usually a heavy focus on playing the ball vertically. With both Sissoko and Ndombele, Jose has players who can dribble and bring the forward, which he has utilised, with Højbjerg being the protection in case they lose possession. Kane's new role means he drops deeper than usual and has become kind of a target man. Not that Spurs continuously kick the ball long to Kane, but with his qualities on the ball and ability to hold up means that Spurs can use him in deeper areas to open space for the wide men to make their lateral runs, especially Son, who so far has 12 goals to his name. The wingers make similar movement, as in they like to come inside narrow, but it's Son who attacks to create a space by Kane more aggressively, and the right winger, usually Lucas Moura, likes to help out overload in central areas. With all these players operating in central areas, we can see why vertical play is important and a strength. In possession, we have seen countless times this season Kane and Son switching positions, and this causes disruption. This link up between the two has been rewarding for Spurs. Harry Kane in the Premier League so far has assisted Son 9 times, while Son has assisted Kane 4 times. Incredible. That is 13 goals from the 30 Tottenham Hotspur have scored in the league so far. You can relate this to why Spurs favour the left hand side a little, because this is where the Son and Kane partnership would be operating. When the two wingers do come inside, this allows the wing backs to make runs forward into the deeper areas to stretch the opponent. Of course, so many players attacking central areas may become a little predictable to when central areas become congested. The two wing backs usually would offer an outlet out wide to try and work the ball back into the central areas. But what you may also see is another shape when attacking, as the two wingers tuck in so narrowly and Kane dropping deeper. Effectively, this makes two up top and more bodies in the box, with players also outside lurking, ready to pick up the pieces. So far this season, Tottenham Hotspur boast the second best defence in the league, and that is because they are difficult to break down. Park the bus? Not exactly. There is a focus on defending as a team, so when the ball is lost, all players are asked to get behind the ball. But like mentioned earlier, Jose Mourinho is pragmatic, so this can be dependent on the opposition. The defending shape is key to how Spurs counter-attack, so it needs to be disciplined. Without the ball, Spurs can be seen shaped in a 4-5-1, leaving Kane the furthest player, but with Son not too distant from his partner, allowing them to transition very quickly and effectively, as those two players are the star players in this side. Jose often operates in a mid-block, despite people claiming he often parks the bus. The men in the middle of midfield stay close to each other, they remain compact, and this reduces the chances of gaps appearing in midfield, which could happen if Jose chooses to further his line of engagement and go for a more urgent pressing defensive style. The reason why I mention a more urgent pressing style is because Jose has given examples of this in small doses, that he's prepared to be more aggressive in his press if needed for the better results, and examples of this can be witnessed in their oppressive 6-1 victory away to Manchester United. So, in a nutshell, Spurs are very much still a counter-attacking team, but this season we have seen brilliant patterns of play which proves to be difficult for defences to handle. Their use of vertical play and quick transitions is a strength that is likely to remain a feature throughout the season. Though Kane and Son may be recognised as the stars of the team, Højbjerg has certainly deserved his praise for his role in the side, as things seem to have clicked a little better since his arrival. And lastly, the positional rotation between Kane and Son has been a pleasure to watch this season, despite me being an Arsenal fan. It seems to have gotten the best out of both so far this season in the Premier League. So before we actually look at the Football Manager 2021 tactic, what I am going to show you on the screen right now is some screenshots, kind of key and interesting stuff. So first, we have a heat map from goal.com. This is what it looks like on the screen. Now, of course, in goal, you're going to have the goalkeeper. His heat map is going to be very hot. But there seems to be a little more focus over on the right-hand side. And maybe sometimes you will notice that a little overload could happen on the right-hand side. And that can allow space on the left-hand side for Son to attack and get some 1v1 situations. Next, from whoscored.com, we have a shot map. Mainly we are looking at the Tottenham shot map. We want to see where Tottenham are getting their shots off. This can help us in our recreation. We don't know if we want to work the ball into the box. We don't know if we want to shoot on sight or if we should just leave it. On average, this is what it could look like most of the time. So now we have our Football Manager 2001 heat map and shot map together. As you can see, we have tried to replicate it. On the right hand side, there is a little more focus on the right than there is on the left, and there is a heavy focus, especially where Son and Kane will be operating. Also, with the shot map, you can see it's fairly mixed, just like in real life. A few shots from outside the box. I believe around 30% of Tottenham shots so far have come from outside the box. So Jose is not afraid to ask his team to shoot on sight, whilst majority of our shots are still inside the box. So enough of me talking about the tactic, let's look at the tactic. So here we have it, RDS Jose Mourinho special one, the recreation of the 4-2-3-1. Of course, it is a 4-2-3-1. We have our double pivot. So like I explained a little earlier, our double pivot is going to help us stagger up the pitch. We're going to have players available in horizontal and vertical lines. So once the halfback does come back to collect the ball, His midfield partner should be operating in a space slightly just ahead of him, and he is a passing lane or a passing option. We also would then have the wing back, and we also still have our central defenders who we can pass to. Another thing we are going to look at, of course, is what some of you may be interested in the most, is the Kane and Son partnership. On the left, we have the inside forward on the attack with a complete forward in attack. Now, complete forward, this can be a little controversial because a lot of people may go for a false nine, which I don't really agree with, but you can also go for a deep line forward, which you can use with this tactic. That was in my first 8 versions of this tactic, but I felt that complete forward, you get more of Kane, you see more of Kane when you're using a complete forward than a deep line forward. Kane as a complete forward under support still would be looking to drop back, but not to the type of extent a deep line forward would. But also what you would notice, there is a nice link up between the two players, not quite rotational, they don't quite exactly rotate positions, which you can actually do. If you select on these two players, go to swap positions with and attacking midfielder on the left, that would make Kane and Son switch positions, which didn't exactly work great for me on Football Manager 2021, which is why I left it. But let's look at the tactic and some of the player roles. In goal, we do have the sweeper keeper. Hugo Lloris will be occupying this position. Left back and right back, we have 2 wing backs. Tottenham so far are the team that puts in the fewest crosses in the league. Maybe not exactly the fewest, I think they are bottom 3 with the most crosses attempted. I think Southampton is another one that don't really get the ball into the box or cross often as other teams, so it's a nice little touch, cross less often. Again, this is something you can remove if you choose to. In defence, we have 1 central defender and we have 1 ball playing defender. Both of them have the instruction to stay wider. The reason why I added that is because your wing backs will be looking to get forward as soon as we start our build up. So if this wing back is adventurous and goes further forward and we lose the ball, huge gap starts to appear here. But if the central defender is positioned slightly wider in this, maybe in this little half space here, then he has a better opportunity to close down his opponent and win the ball. That is my thinking behind to stay wider. The double pivot, we have the halfback who is going to be taking more risk on the ball, trying to unlock the defence a lot more often than usual, which Højbjerg you can say does with his switches of play. The segundo volante is the Sissoko, kind of a box-to-box midfielder in the deeper area, so he will be looking to get further forward, kind of lurk on the edge of the box when we get there, and he can also track back. But mainly he will be looking to support the midfield. You can add get further forward, as Sissoko likes to get further forward, and you can add dribble more because that's what Sissoko likes to do. But the reason why I didn't add any of those is because I didn't want it to happen to such an controlling extent. I didn't want it to happen again and again and again during the 90 minutes, only occasional. Now for our attacking midfielders, on the left hand side we have the inside forward on the attack. His instruction is to sit narrow and tackle harder. To sit narrow instruction goes without saying, it's just to sit narrow, get him closer to play. For the advanced playmaker on the attack duty, which would be Ndombele, his instruction similar to Kane, tackle harder. Now he's going to be dribbling more and taking more risk, which I feel Ndombele does. Now he is positioned in this spot, but because he is a playmaker, he isn't going to be looking to advance in these areas to try and get the ball. He's actually going to be dropping to try and collect the ball to his feet. On the right hand side we have the inverted winger who will be tackling harder. Inverted winger, someone who will be cutting inside, trying to overload in maybe the zone 14 areas. And then finally up top we have the Harry Kane complete forward who is going to be tackling harder, but you can see his instruction is to hold up the ball, which allows us for our counter attacks. The dribble more instruction is something that I really disagree with. It's not something I really see Kane doing, dribbling with the ball to get into those advanced areas, but hey ho, we have to compromise somewhere, I guess. We also have take more risks, move into channels, but those are the instructions already set. So for the team instructions, the mentality, we have gone balanced, kind of Jose-ish, balance, get a feel of the game. Once you get a feel of the game, then you can kind of decide if you want to be more cautious or you want to be more positive. Now, mentality is something I actually don't really change. If I'm chasing a goal, a lot of games, trust me, it is 0-0 in the first half. So sometimes I actually try and push my team forward and be more positive, try and nick a goal if I can. but it's very rare. Sometimes I actually try and do stick at it, especially if I am away. Sometimes a point away from home isn't always the worst result. For the attacking width, we want vertical passes, and I'm trying to use it to a greater extent. For the approach play, we have pass into space. This works very well with our counter attacks. We have underlap on the left and underlap on the right. Instead of our wide players, our deeper wide players such as the wing backs overlapping our wider players, actually our inside forwards and our inverted wingers already will be making inside forwards, but again we are making it happen to a greater extent. Our wider players will be overlapping the players in the central areas. We do have play out of defense. The passing directness is set to standard, so again a pragmatic instruction. You can go for slightly shorter if you want to be more shorter, or you can go for slightly more direct, again if you want to be more direct, but we are going to be pragmatic. This is something that you might want to change during matches. This isn't a plug and play tactic. This is something that you have to keep an eye out when you are playing. For the tempo, we have gone for the higher tempo because we want our quick transitions. Now, time wasting is a very underrated instruction on this game. So the reason why I have used it on this is because when it comes to things like set pieces, you don't see Tottenham attack them with a great urgency. So it is kind of rare, but sometimes they do take their time with the ball. And actually, this can allow more time for our defensive players, our big players, to get further forward. But time wasting is a very underrated instruction, and it doesn't mean that all the time your players will be wasting time. In the final third, we did activate shoot on sight. Without it, we wasn't really getting our shots off, especially outside the box, which I feel Tottenham can do on occasions in real life. So we did add the shoot on sight. If you are shooting too much or being too wasteful, which I've seen many times in this test, then you may want to remove it. We also have play for set pieces. This is kind of a tricky one and kind of a compromise because Tottenham do kind of get set pieces, but I wouldn't say they exactly play for it. But again, this is a complement to the counter attack because once we break, players on the ball when dribbling could be looking to draw in a foul from the opposition, and again this can allow our players, our big defenders, to get further forward, and we can be more effective from set pieces. In transition, though I said Jose likes all men to be behind the ball, the reason why I didn't go with regroup is because we just became way too defensive and we invited way too much pressure. Jose sometimes likes to invite pressure, but not to that extent. When possession has been won, we are going to make our counter movements because, of course, we are a counter-attacking team. And when the goalkeeper is in possession, he will be distributing it quickly, which is a contradiction to what I just said about time wasting. But when the keeper is on the ball, he will be kind of trying to initiate our counter-attacks if and when they are on. We have gone for the higher line of engagement and the higher defensive line. Now, I said Jose mostly likes to defend in a mid-block. Translating that into Football Manager can be difficult because you have many things affecting it. Now, in Football Manager, a mid-block can simply just mean this: a standard line of engagement and a standard defense line. But bear in mind, we have gone with the balanced mentality also. So now, a lot of the times, if you just leave it like this, the mid-block is not actually happening in the middle of the pitch. It could be happening in deeper areas. All of a sudden, your mid-block just disappears and your team is out of shape. A lot of bad things can happen. So I have gone for the higher line of engagement and higher defense line. This doesn't mean we are now an aggressive team. It doesn't mean we are defending high up the pitch. Just translating it into Football Manager, this kind of gives you a truer representation of a mid-block than an actual mid-block setting in Football Manager. I know, a little confusing. It did confuse me as well whilst talking and whilst testing it, but it just happened this way. And the tactic, without saying, is a little more effective when the setting is like this. For the pressing intensity, we have gone for more urgent. We want to close the gaps down, and we obviously don't want the opponent to have too much time on the ball. Again, this matches with your mentality. Now, if we left it on standard with the balanced mentality, then players could be seen just standing around, not really defending much. But with the more urgent pressing intensity, there is a greater emphasis on getting the ball back, but not to an extent you can start calling it a high press or a gegenpress. And for the tackling, we have gone for the get stuck in to try and help us with our counter attacks, try and get those counter attacks happening very quickly. Now, that is the tactic done. Sorry, apologize for spending so much time on this tactic. I have been away, I have been missing. It is nice to talk to you guys again. But we are now going to look at some of the results. As you can see, we won the league and we also won the Europa, beating Lazio in the final on penalties. The Emirates FA Cup, we got knocked out in the 5th round, and we also got knocked out in the 4th round by Grimsby Town. But in the Premier League, this is where we are going to be looking at our results, because this is where we got most of our impressive results. We played 38, winning 32, drawing 2 and losing 4. Scoring 66 goals, which isn't bad, but only conceding 19, which is very, very Jose-ish. The most impressive thing for me is the home record. Managing to win 19 games out of 19, that's a 100% record at home, only conceding 3 goals at home all season. Absolutely incredible. For the away record, we did have the best away record in the league, and this is where we actually lost all of our games. We lost 4-1 away to Liverpool, we lost 1-0 to West Ham, we lost 1-0 to Leeds, and we lost 1-0 to Manchester City. The 4-1 defeat to Liverpool actually happened on the very last day of the season, so imagine our goal difference without those goals conceded. But we are going to look at some of the stats and the statistics. You can see that Tottenham actually have the second highest average possession. Crazy. I'm not actually sure how Tottenham's possession was so high on this. Maybe it's because of the build-up play. Sometimes we didn't actually build up very quickly. It was kind of slow in that transition, and maybe that helped with possession numbers. But don't get it twisted, and don't get thinking that this is a tiki-taka tactic. For the goals, we scored the 3rd most goals in the league with 66 goals and creating 51.64 expected goals throughout the whole season. Our pass completion ratio was very good also, with 91%. We also completed 16,404 passes, which was the 3rd most in the league. Clear-cut chances created, we came 10th in that with 16 clear-cut chances created, and shots for, we came 2nd with 656 shots, probably because of the shoot on sight. Our defensive record is the most impressive by far, only conceding 19 goals throughout the whole season and getting 25 clean sheets throughout the whole season, which is incredible. But also tackles won, we won the most tackles in the league, 965 tackles won with an 81% tackles won ratio. So now to look at our team report, our attacking efficiency, we were aggressive, but we were wasteful, mainly because of the shoot on sight. So if you don't like this statistic, make sure you remove the shoot on sight, but you won't get as many shots, of course, with that instruction on. For our defensive efficiency, we were very quiet and impenetrable. The statistics will back all of those claims up. And for the general performances, the most impressive, well, possibly the biggest difference between us and the average team in the league was the shots per game. The expected goals against as well was incredible. Only 0.74 expected goals against per game and only conceding 0.5 goals per game. How did we score most of our goals? Most of our goals came from play shots, 11 came from powerful shots and 11 came from headers. With the assist, 13 of those came from crosses. But that doesn't mean high crosses, that could be low crosses such as a pullback or a squared ball. With my wing backs on cross less often, you will notice that not many crosses go inside the box. And 12 from through balls. We have 9 from short passes, 5 from free kicks, 4 from corners and 4 from the opposition's mistakes. Now looking at our squad statistics, our 2 top goal scorers were Son and Harry Kane. When it comes to replicating, that is exactly what you want, because you want to select the key features why players in real life are performing the way they are in a tactical setup. And no surprise we managed to get that here with this Jose Mourinho tactic. Son managed to score 17 goals and Kane scored 15, but what did disappoint us was the assist. They didn't really assist each other as much as I'd like, but the goals were split between the team. As you can see, we have players scoring 2, 2, 3, 5, 6 and 7 goals. So the goals were spreaded between the whole squad. The player with the most assists was Dele Alli, someone I like on Football Manager, which is why he played a lot of games, but I'm not a big fan in real life. Matt Doherty with 9 assists and Sergio Reguilon on 7 assists. So thank you guys for watching my video. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to this video to get all my recent videos. I will now be uploading a lot more regular. And also leave a comment on this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I have enjoyed explaining this one to you. It was a pleasure. I will see you soon and peace out.